Sadil. I'm a senior at Portland State University. I'm a psychology major, and this term I'm in 2 human development classes, one of which is child psychology, the other is adolescent development. And in this adolescent development class, we've been given the task to look at a certain theory of development and incorporate that into a problem that families with adolescents face, and then come up with some sort of solution to foster more communication, something to better the relationship to address that problem. And the problem I've chose to look at is basically pornography. With increased access to the internet, more computers, faster internet, all of this these things have brought children into the forefront of technology. They are the ones who have all this free time and they're very open to experiences, therefore they learn the possibilities that technology offers. And Urie Bronfenbrenner is a psychologist, and his ecological systems theory basically says that there is the child at the core of these systems, these systems of development. They start with the microsystem, which is the immediate family, the parents, the peers, the siblings, and everything that the child interacts with on a day-to-day basis. And from there you go out into the mesosystem, which are the interactions between these microsystems, the parents' workplace, so on and so forth, all the way out to the exosystem, which is the culture, and the chronosystem, which is the time frame that the child lives in. Focusing on the microsystem, the child's household, the child's parents, these are huge influences on the child's development. Now, with pornography, the internet, sexually explicit internet material, the world of graphic sex is brought into the child's microsystem. And it seems obvious that this would affect the child's development. Children are curious, they are expected to learn about the world during this time, let's say high school, and obviously sex is interesting. And basically what I'm going to run through here is how easily accessible pornography is on the internet and why that is a problem. So parents, if you would, let us, clearly you're on the internet watching this. Now, if you would, pull up another browser. You can continue to listen to me talk while you're on YouTube. If you would pull up another browser, go to Google and type in free sex. Now, you don't have to do this, obviously. However, I would stress to you that it'll give you a better understanding. What I'm going to attempt to say is that basically sex is readily available on the internet, and you as parents should know that it's out there. You've had hangovers, you've had tickets, DUIs, and for that reason you can approach your children honestly and say, realistically, these are the reasons to avoid alcohol, these are the reasons to avoid drugs, this is why you need a helmet on your motorcycle, whatever. So, if you would, type in free sex to your Google search. And what you'll notice is, well, you can look at 64 million results. And each one of these presumably show free sex. Now, go ahead and hit your images in the top left corner of the screen, and you'll get a very mild depiction of what is out there. Scrolling through this, you'll see very what would be called softcore or sexually suggestive material, none of which even compares to what we will see later. But let me pause to inform you about the dilemmas with sex on the internet, sexually explicit material. We, in the psychology world, based on research, know that about 50% of children access pornography on the internet, adolescents. And up to 75% of children, of adolescents, access pornography. They happen upon it, whether or not they choose to or whether or not it shows up in pop-ups or advertisements on sites they do visit. They're exposed to it. And this is a problem because basically viewing pornography, sexually explicit material, specifically videos on the internet which depict sex, correlate to a child, boy or girl, their notion of women as sex objects. This seems obvious if you were to watch porno, because in pornography, in pornographic films, the male is the center of the act. He is the power force. The woman is the object to please the man, and there are degrading objectification of women in these videos, and it seems plausible to infer that this has a direct impact on how women or how children view women. Furthermore, children who access pornography more frequently are more likely to have unsatisfactory views about their sex lives, especially children who have little or no sex experience, adolescents who have little or no sexual experience view sex on the internet as readily available, as women throwing themselves at men, when in reality this is not the case, obviously. And obviously this is not the case. So, kids see sex as something that's out there, it's readily available. This is not true. And this is a problem because it affects how they view sexual relations. They have this unrealistic view that their peers are having sex, that men are having sex for however long in these pornos, and it's just not natural. There's correlations between sexual promiscuity, condom use, views about pregnancy, types of sexual acts, where adolescents, male or female, the more they access it, the more promiscuous they are, the less likely they have to use condoms, so on and so forth. So, back to our free sex. At this point, I would ask that you type in youporn.com, similar to YouTube, but YouPorn. And typing in that website, it will ask you whether or not you want to enter the website. It says are you 18? If you are, you can enter. You can enter or you can leave. And it doesn't even ask you your birthday. But if you hit enter, you will be taken to the world of sexually explicit internet material. Scrolling down the first page, you can see what this page has to offer. To your curious adolescent, if you notice towards the center of the screen, there are categories. And these categories include anal, bisexual, so on and so forth, group sex, hand jobs, teens, whatever your fancy. Children can explore these and see graphic depictions of sex with women as objects to please the male. Now, I would ask that you explore this a little bit to really see what's out there. Not necessary though. I apologize if you've been offended by anything you've seen here. I just, again, think it's necessary that you really understand what's out there. There are countless websites just like this. Obviously, 64 million to varying degrees. Some likely ask you to pay, some likely not. Since it's so profitable, since so many people view these sites, advertisers pay these sites so basically the sites are free, watch all the porn you want, and the advertisers and the sites are making money off the advertisers. It's pretty common, which is why it's free. Now, moving on. Knowing what's out there and knowing some of the negative effects, I would say parents, communicate openly with your children about these things. Say, first off, depending on your approach to the world, decide what your boundaries are. Do you want your children to completely avoid this? Do you want your children to access this responsibly, or do you want to let your children have free reign? Any of those are fine, depending on your standpoint. However, know what's out there, talk to your children openly, and set up guidelines. Practical ways to influence your children's internet habits would be to set up monitors on the computer, inform your children that those are there. Those are pretty easy to get around. There are ways to block these sites, but those are pretty easy to get around for kids. More practically, put your computer in a central location, in the kitchen, family room, and that is an indirect way to monitor what your children are doing on the internet. Consider waiting to let your child have his or her own laptop or computer in their room. They can be very helpful in the high school years. However, giving children free reign is, in essence, giving children the opportunity to look at whatever they want on the internet. Now, once again, talk to your kids. Talk to them about what's out there. Talk to them, tell them why this is unnatural. Just like you would talk about alcohol or drugs. Open communication is important, and children do respect your viewpoints. It's an uncomfortable thing to discuss. Sex, in essence, is uncomfortable naturally for parents and children to talk about, but it's ever more important to do so because of this. That said, just know that children are curious, and there are maybe some benefits to pornography. However, I think the negative things outweigh the positive, and this will become more apparent. Knowing what's out there, this gives you a tool to keep your influence over your children, which is very important. Parents love your children, this and that, and don't let them fall privy to unrealistic anal sex.